Hello and welcome to the AllMadeUp podcast with me, Lewis Coleman, and only me, as Harry and Ben aren't in the studio. If you follow Harry on socials, you will probably already know that he's in Africa, having just climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. But like I said, I don't need to tell you that, as he's probably updating his story as we speak. And as for Ben, he's in Bury. Anyway, the podcast. Today's podcast is one we filmed and recorded back in August at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with the very funny, incredibly talented, very ripped Emmanuel Sonubi. We were very lucky to get Emmanuel on the pod as he'd sold out his entire run at the Fringe, so it was brilliant to get him on the podcast and making up a very, very, very funny story, but also one which was, I would say, the most compelling one we've done so far. A murder mystery, so it's one to look forward to. And sad note about Ben. Ben doesn't feature on this podcast as he was in a family holiday. He wasn't in one. He was at a family holiday in France with his family. And yeah, he couldn't make it. So instead, we've replaced him, substituted him with James Allen, which you might remember from Fog on the Mind, our very first podcastee, which has been the most listened to and the most watched. So if you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. One last thing, I'd just like to say a massive thank you for supporting the podcast. It's been building week on week, and we really do appreciate all the listens, all the downloads, all the hours watched on YouTube. So if you can continue doing that, that would be mint. If you could tag a friend, tell them about it, keep spreading the word, and yeah, keep downloading. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, subscribe. It does make a massive difference, so please do that. But that's the last thing from me. I just want you to enjoy the podcast. Well, we do, even though Harry and Ben aren't here. So, this is All Made Up with Emmanuel Sonubi. Enjoy.
It's all made up again. Yeah. It's all made up again. It's all made up again. It's all made up again.
Hello and welcome to the All Made Up podcast with me, Harry Stagini.
Me, Lewis Coleman.
And me, James Allen.
The show where each week a guest joins us in the writer's room to create a story like you and we have never heard before.
Not quite knowing what's around the corner or what we'll find along the way, as this podcast is exactly what it says on the tin.
It's all made up.
Superb, mate. Thank you.
James Allen had a midnight show last night, so I'm guessing energy levels are a tiny bit.
I didn't get any sleep until 6 a.m. because the people who I live with came back at 5 and yeah.
Right. You failed to mention that this morning. But,
yeah, I didn't want to deter from the...
No, you thought I'll save it for the pod.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'll offload this, all my baggage.
But you were guest hosting with us yesterday, weren't you?
Yeah. Great time.
Well, yeah, it's usually Ben Hart, obviously, who does the podcast with us. You was with Ben at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And he had a lot to say about you. He was saying, like, I love Emmanuel Sonubi. He said you had a real bromance out there. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a we really bonded over my concoction of gin, water, and lime cordial.
Right, okay.
I took 5 litres of the stuff.
Okay.
So hang on, it's 5 litres as a mix or like 5 litres of gin?
5 litres of gin.
And then you mix it with water and lime cordial. Sorry, just for anyone who's listening or watching, right? Emmanuel Sonubi is our guest for today, the brilliant Emmanuel Sonubi. So yeah, just before anyone thinks, who the fuck is he? Yeah. So you 5 litres.
5 litres
in what? Like a bladder?
No, I took it. How big would that
but
be?
you know what I mean?
Yeah, just in a bag, drinking it from a straw.
What I did was I emptied out a 5 litre, one of those big things of water.
Right.
And then just filled it up with gin.
Just regular gin, no flavouring in it?
That's regular gin.
Regular gin, nice.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of gin.
Because I learnt my lesson from the Glastonbury before, where I took a copious amount of Guinness and drinking Guinness for like 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Did you do the same thing, 5 litres of Guinness?
Probably about the same volume.
Sits on the limit.
Well, it was the second day of trying to go toilet and giving birth to a brick. Nobody likes to cry on the toilet.
No.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not doing that again. That was horrid. So I went with gin this year.
I think like spirits at a festival like that is wise, because I was at Why Not with my mate the other week and we had 45 tins of lager between us in 2 days of being there. And yeah, it's a lot of liquid in it.
27.5
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think he must have had a few more tins than me.
Yeah.
But I remember.
I love the question in tone. So you had half a pint.
Yeah.
This doesn't follow up.
But it was heavy. But that's why it's nice to have a little, little refresher. Maybe it'd be. I wouldn't go gin myself. If I was going for a mixer at a festival, I'd probably go either vodka or sambuca.
Vodka, that's
Sambuca.
a
Yeah, right.
Sambuca is the worst spirit for
Was
me.
it 14?
Mentally, yes. Sambuca and Coke. That used to be my drink at university. It was. It tastes like blackjack. So it would be spilling over the glass, and my fingers would be like crystallised with all the sugar. But I was like, it never left my hand.
Of course it
You had a
stuck
great-
to your
Yeah,
head.
exactly. But Sambuca and Coke, try it. Honestly, it is tasty.
Well, gin with lime cordial. So you do a large gin with a healthy dash of lime cordial, and then top it up with water. It is so dangerously refreshing that you just start necking them all day, because it doesn't really feel like you're drinking alcohol. It's like having just like a lime juice.
Well,
I've got to say, sorry, just if you ever get a sponsorship deal or an advertisement for that drink, it sounds so nice through the headphones when you say that. It sounds great through this. You've got the nicest voice so far, I think. I'm just like enjoying myself over here.
Put that over your cock, mate.
What I was gonna mention just quickly. Where are you at the Fringe this year? What venue are you at?
I'm at the Dairy Room in
Right.
Bristol Square.
Because Harry was mentioning he saw your preview show. Was that right?
Yeah, I watched Emmanuel set up for his preview in Northampton, and I'm not giving anything away, am I, if I tell people what I saw?
What's that?
What if I'm not giving anything away if I tell people what I saw?
You are.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay.
That's a huge spoiler.
Right. Okay. Well, I was surprised with what I saw, because I've never seen Emmanuel do anything like he was doing on this stage. And then I went and watched your show, and I thought it was superb. I really, really enjoyed it.
Do you know what? This year is so much fun. Like, I don't know whether, because you write a new show, you want it to be better than the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better. I just know that I enjoy it so much more.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see your previous show. I'd seen material that you'd done in clubs, and that's why I was so surprised with what you were doing in the show. But I thought it was really good, like the reaction in the room. And obviously, you've been selling out, haven't you?
Yeah, all of them sold out to date. So tonight's sold out as well.
Superb.
But this is the thing. It's lovely selling out each day. What I want is to sell out the run beforehand.
Yeah, no
because
anxiety.
You're still left with that
Yeah.
those anxious thoughts of, am I going to sell it out today? So last night we had an extra show, because the Saturday night sold out like a week ago. So then we put on an extra show, but they took ages getting it up, so it didn't go on sale until I think Thursday.
Right,
So now I'm like, I've got 2.5 days
To shift.
to shift these tickets. And I looked at it one morning, it was like 6 tickets, and I was like, I'm going home. This is the worst Fringe in the world.
Yeah, it's no longer a complete sellout. It's
I hate this now.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to get rid of those tickets. And I was like, I'm really busy. I'm not going to have time to go and flyer. And then I was sort of scrambling for time to just get out and do some flyering. And then Saturday morning, I'd gone up to 50 tickets.
Right.
And then I went and did a Best of the Fest. I hosted one of those down at the Pleasance.
Yeah.
Came out of that, checked my ticket sales, and it got up to like 80 tickets. So a load of them were just
Superb.
bought tickets. And then the time it took me to walk from here to Bristol Square, which is like 15 minutes, it was like I'm on 100 tickets.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Them compilation shows are so useful, it seems.
they're
to
so good for selling tickets.
Yeah.
They're really, it's like being able to fly to a room of people that are trapped and have to listen to you.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing the assembly last night, hosting their like 11 o'clock show, and I said to Lewis, like, my show's at 2:45, and like obviously just with it being an afternoon show, I'm usually people's first show of the day, so it's like they're kind of like, quite twee and that. As last night was like drunk, coked up, and I was like, yes, this is my arena. And I proper enjoyed it. It was just one of them where you're thinking, this has been the most fun I've had the entire time I've been here. And I'm here for 10 minutes.
What's the clientele been like at your midnight show, James?
It's been everyone's been lovely. For where we are, and Three Sisters. I'm not allowed to say that. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for where we are, it does operate as a nightclub
Well, it is a nightclub, but
primarily.
right? Okay. So you get people
With
from the
shows on during
nightclub
the day.
coming in.
No, but they use the toilet.
Right.
which is opposite. But yeah, we've had no dick. Well, the only dickheads ever were the theatre students I mentioned.
Right, the one that made you promote their show while you were doing your show.
Yeah.
They made him put a flyer on his stage, which was for their show. So instead of watching James's show, they just sat there and watched their own flyer. For
And then it fell down, and she went,
yeah.
It's weird that.
Hold on. I've missed something. Rewind. So you're on stage.
yeah.
And she's giving you her flyer.
I asked her what they were doing, and they were like, "Oh, we're doing like 3 plays." And I went, "Oh, all right." Briefly, just go through them. And then she went, "Oh, well, here's a flyer, and you can read it for yourself."
She sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I went, "All right, well, I'll just put it there for now." Just, and then she let that the whole show just...
Yeah. Especially staying there at midnight as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like,
And it just slid off.
yeah.
Well,
Edinburgh was absolutely bouncing yesterday. Did you do a show yesterday?
I did 2 shows yesterday.
Yeah, I bet it was good.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was one of those days, and I remember this last year. Again, it comes down to being anxious about ticket sales, where there was a couple of days last year where it was as rammed as that. There were thousands of people. And I was like, if I don't sell out tonight, then I only need 100 people.
Yeah.
And there are thousands here. I don't need that many of you to come into the show.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't sell out tonight, I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think last night, the 2019 Fringe, which I went to, was like unbelievably busy, so busy. And I think yesterday was the closest it's got back to then, which was nice to see, because I like it when it's absolutely pumping. And it felt good just like walking through near like Ayrstone and Pleasance around that sort of way last night. There was a good energy.
Yeah.
Oh, just before we sort of get into it as well, I knew you want to bring this up, don't you?
Yeah.
I already know what you're going to say.
So we said, obviously Ben isn't here today, right? So Ben is Sunday.
Good.
He'll hate that.
Yeah, he will absolutely hate that. Be messy. Are you joking? But Ben disappeared Tuesday, right? He's gone to France on a family holiday, and he's staying in a little town somewhere in the middle of France. And he was walking yesterday evening through like the courtyard, little plaza area, and this fella on a table got up and stopped Ben and went, "Are you Ben from the AllMadeUp podcast?"
No.
Yeah, swear to God. So he sent us a voice note and a video of him and this guy, and Ben's like, I'm not going to post it online, mate, but like, thank you so much. And the guy was like, yeah, big fan of the podcast.
And then he messaged the account, didn't he, last night, just like, saying, thank you for chatting to me and stuff.
His wife said, don't go across. But he did. We were like, that's absolutely mad. And he got on episode number 4, and then since then has just like, watched them all. But he said he's really enjoying it. He said, when I watch it, it looks like you're all having a good time. So, we are. Aren't we, James?
Watch episode 1 as well, mate.
Yeah. Well, James kicked it all off for us, didn't he?
Yeah, James was the guest on episode 1, and one of the first comments we got was, "It's peaked. You've got to stop now." So each time...
Haven't listened.
You're not listening.
Joking.
But yeah, it's different guests come on with different stories, so it's like, it's been great, but yeah.
Speaking of that, let's get into the next one. So this is going to be All Made Up with Emmanuel Sonubi.
It's all made up, baby.
So Emmanuel, thank you once again for coming back on the All Made Up podcast. So what we do on this podcast is we create a story together. So this is sort of like a writer's room. You're going to be our lead writer, and we're in the room with you helping to create this story.
Yeah.
So basically, in these pots in front of you are like starting sentences, finishing sentences, and little like curveball sentences in between, which we're going to use to create this story.
Exactly.
But before we start any story, we create a character together. So what would you like your character's name to be today?
And it can be anything.
It can be any like any.
We're in this together.
We're all in this together. So just a character's name to start us off.
I'm so unprepared. And as soon as you say that, it could be anything. I have no idea what it could be. So I'm going to look around the room, and there is nothing in here that gives me anything.
No inspiration.
Well, let's
None whatsoever. No, I'm going to... Right, we're going to go for a female character called Liv.
Right,
Liv.
Okay, Liv.
Because I've just seen the Lever review, so we're going to go with Liv.
Livy, full name?
Her full name's Olivia.
Olivia.
Oh, right,
Friends
okay.
call her Liv.
Nice.
Okay.
She's pretty cool. Bit of a temper.
We've got an age on her?
Liv is mid-20s.
All right, okay.
I'd say 26.
Yeah, mid-20s.
Yeah. We've just gone, it's only because of the half a pint comment. I don't want to go, if I say, does that mean 25? She's 26. She's 27. She's 27 in about a month.
Okay.
Just so she's there.
Okay.
Okay, and whereabouts is she based, Liv? Is she Scotland? Is she England? What
I'm
town?
going to say London, just in case you want me to do any sort of accent.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't want to go big and go, she's from Glasgow. How does she sound, Emmanuel?
Okay, and so she's 26, nearly 27, living in London. Is she living in a house, flat share? Who's she living with?
It's London. She lives at home
Right,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
With the parents?
with her parents.
Okay, okay.
Does she have a job?
No.
All right, okay.
No,
So
she
she's
doesn't have a job.
Low
She did
aspirations.
have a job,
Right.
but she wasn't happy in that job because it doesn't feel like that was her.
Right, okay.
yeah.
So if she doesn't have a job, does that mean that like she has a dream? She has
She
an
has a passion.
Okay, and like what is
her
that passion?
passion?
Pottery.
right. Okay, nice. Loves a kiln.
I've
Loves a
done
kill.
that the other week.
You did pottery the other week.
Yeah.
Did you? What did you craft?
Just a small ashtray.
Yeah.
I don't even smoke.
Just put a
I
plant
love
on
how
it.
people always go for ashtray first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that ashtray, can you call it pottery? Because technically you can just do anything flat and it's an ashtray.
That's a very
Yeah.
good point.
We did-
Or a coaster.
But did Liv was the first thing that Liv sort of create an ashtray, or was she a bit more creative with what she creates pottery wise?
She's a lot more creative
Okay.
than the ashtray, but she did. I mean, I'd say this has always been a passion since school. And she studied art at university and then left and got a real job.
Right. What was her real job?
She was a PA.
PA. So I reckon there's probably people watching and listening to this that can relate to Liv quite a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, kind of young, but you're still trying to figure out what you're doing, but you know what you're doing right now doesn't feel like you. But you've got this dream. You know, there'll be a lot of people sat there thinking,
She got sick of answering other people's phone calls. It just wasn't her.
And who was she a PA to?
She was a PA. Well, do you know what? She was an EA,
What's an EA?
an executive assistant.
Oh, right. In my head, I was like,
So,
sports.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. Yeah, that was literally all.
So a PA might look after multiple people,
Okay.
whereas an EA will pretty much look after one, and it's probably the head honcho.
So
Right,
the people that she's looking after must be like big cheeses, big wigs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
okay.
worse, she left. She wasn't happy. Pay attention, Harry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking
I'm
was,
sorry.
be in the room, okay. Executive assistant. Who was it to then? Was it a bloke, a woman? Was it?
I'm just trying to think like sectors. Is it finance? Is
Yeah.
it?
I'm gonna go finance, and it was a woman who was the head of mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I have the worst memory. There's a chance I'm going to forget all of this within this hour of a
Nice.
podcast.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're with you. We're with you. Right. And okay, what was her name? What was the boss's name?
You and your names. You love names, don't you?
Yeah, you got to put names.
You know, putting a label on something.
Her name was. No, I can't call her Leaf because I'm looking at a tree or window or crack whore. Can't just noticing
lady.
one of the students over there.
What about Sally?
Harriet.
Harriet.
Harriet. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. 'Cause
H.
Yeah.
Harriet Stone.
Harriet Stone. Oh, right. That does sound like a premium name, that doesn't it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harriet Stone. Okay. And what was she?
Mergers and acquisitions.
Mergers and
Yeah.
acquisitions, and was she quite like?
She was solid at her job, mate.
Yeah,
Solid as a rock.
solid as a rock. Yeah, I like that. Was she harsh on Liv? Was she harsh?
No, so she was a mentor to Liv.
Right.
They get on really, really well.
Right.
And it was actually Harriet who pushed her to leave because she knows
Yeah.
she wasn't happy.
If you stay here, you're going to go potty. She's like, I know. I need to get out there. I need to start crafting.
Right, that's nice. I like that. So she was like supportive in a way. She was
Yes.
like, "This isn't for you. You're doing a good job."
I
but
can see you're not happy.
yeah, yeah. So was it like go and follow your dream, or was it like just get out of here? Like,
Go and follow. It was one of those where I think when Liv came to speak to her about this, it was the situation where, do you know what? It's one of those where there's no argument or no animosity. They just get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
It's a really heartwarming story, right?
Yeah, I think it's got a good foundation here.
Yeah.
We could ruin her life in a minute.
Right. Okay. I'm just thinking, and she's living at home with her mum and dad. Any
Yeah.
brothers or sisters or anything like that, or only child?
I'm going to go older brother.
Older brother. Right.
Older brother who is successful.
Okay.
He was. Oh, what does he do? I'd say older brother who has his own business as an electrician.
Electrician. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Self-employed. Or,
Sparkies.
yeah. It's,
Yeah.
And just quickly, are mum and dad supportive of her, Liv?
Or are they a
Yeah,
bit like?
because she's the youngest.
Right, okay, yeah. So they're like, you can follow your dreams, making pots, and live here as long as possible
Yes.
until it takes off.
Yes.
She's got a good circle at the moment, hasn't she? She's got a great circle
Oh, yeah.
around her.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a boss who's saying follow your dreams, parents saying, oh, let's go.
She's
a
got
br-
the right support behind her.
right. And
Yeah.
Now let's fuck this life up.
right, yeah, exactly right. So let's jump into this. So in the green pot, if you pick one of them at random and there's going to be a blank in it, and just replace the blank with live, and then after we've done that one, we're going to pick a red one up. Okay, so go for it.
And this is classic Liv. Liv always gate crashed funerals.
Right. Okay. Live always gate crash
Just be like,
funerals.
instead of it being wood, what if I did a pot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Coffee.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Maybe she goes there to sort of get business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because that's really an untapped market. Because who else advertises really that kind of service at a funeral?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Urns.
Yeah, or yeah, she maybe does like makes chimneys when they burn the bodies.
Yeah, but I think James made the most logical sort of suggestion then, like urns, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like a clay urn, which,
Yeah.
okay, I like that.
terracotta urn.
So before we sort of jump into that further, let's get where we're going to end. So if you pick one of the reds at random, and this is the point we're going to try and get to.
The barbecue went down in history.
Super.
Right, okay, so immediately I'm thinking if we're going down like a cremation urn sort of route and barbecues and things
Yeah.
like that, there's some sort of link there, which I like. But the sort of thought of her going like, right, I need to sort of like start this business, where am I going to get a lot of customers
Yeah,
going to funerals?
Yeah.
I think that's
Handing
very
out
good.
tissues with the details on. Just
Yeah.
take them off.
I think what she would have done, and she would have known this from her previous role using things like the internet as a tool,
Right.
is use Facebook. Or I think she would have used something like Facebook to check someone's following to try and gauge how many people would be at that funeral.
Right. So
And
she-
then go there.
Imagine there being a Facebook event for a funeral.
Yeah, well,
Like,
but
click
the
to
diff-
attend.
Well, the funerals now you can like stream them, can't you? You can stream funerals now if you can't make the funeral. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the
You
thing.
can stream anything, to be
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah.
yeah. I've never. been
Well, it's
like
called
that.
in COVID because obviously a lot of people couldn't have attended funerals because it's
Yeah.
like a 30 capacity, so they started live streaming them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my granddad's might have been live streamed actually. I'll have to find that out. Anyway, moving on. What I was thinking was if she's got these skills from a merger and acquisitions job,
Yeah.
she's transferring them to this pottery sort of.
100%.
Right. Okay.
Right. And if she's gate crashing them, so how long has she been gate crashing funerals? Like, is this in the last 6 months, last year, last 3 years?
I'd say this is a new thing.
Okay.
And I quite like the fact that she's trying to create urns.
Yeah, urns. Well,
Right.
all right, here we go. We always like the name of what like the business would be. So if she's setting up a new business or a new like self-employed venture, what
Yeah.
would it be called? Usually a play on words, something punny, like earning money or something like that. Or
Ashtray,
What?
like an ashtray. You know what I mean? Because it's ashes.
yeah, but all right, ashtray.
I think
Yeah,
you're just saying the word.
No. Yeah, like it's
ashtray.
no.
Smoker.
Yeah. Smoker, ashes to ashes,
Ash for cash.
ash for cash.
I think there's got to be that.
That's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Ash.
Like it's like pottery, urns, clay, clay day. You know, like I don't know. Like there's a
Going
good
potty.
Going potty.
Going
There we go.
potty.
There we go.
Going potty seems like something you'd see on Etsy, wouldn't it? That's like
Yeah.
one of them. Oh, come and join.
Artisan kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Artisan ashes.
I think going potty is nice. I think
Right.
that's
I think that would be, and you can go artisan underneath it.
Right. Okay. So she set this up and she.
so. What is it called? Just to confirm, artisan ashes. We're going with that.
No,
or-
I'm going potty.
Art-
The artisan urn. word.
Right, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so this is a recent thing then. So we're talking maybe the last few months.
Yeah.
And when she's turning up to funerals,
Yeah, what's a pitch? Like, how is she...
where does she slip it in? Is it like when they go, right, we're going to have a reading from, and she fucking nudges the woman out the way, gets on the mic, and is like, just so you know, I'm doing a 2-for-1 on urns, or does she wait until it's the wake? You know what I mean? Like, where is she slipping in the...
Well, I was going to say, if she's at the funeral, obviously the funeral that they're at has already been decided, hasn't it? Like, she can't then pitch, like someone who's at a funeral, get an urn, because they're already...
You get a mix of both here.
Right.
Because you think at a funeral, you won't know everyone at that funeral.
That's the point.
So I think that what she does, because it's what I would do, is I would just turn up and just act like I knew the person. And there's always the bit when they say, does anyone have any words that they want to say? It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Very solemn. I didn't know John very long. But he was kind. He was very generous. I mean, he was always a big fan of my artisan pottery. He always encouraged me to push it further. He always said things like, the quality of your work is outstanding.
I imagine people in the church being like, who is she?
Oh, no, or like, oh, no, I think they'd be a bit more take it in.
The value for money of what you do in the time frame that you do it. I mean, he was always so impressed with how quickly I could turn around a product for a customer. And I was like, Johnny, you can't keep giving me 5-star reviews. But he was just so kind, and he was the one that pushed me really to start looking into all the things that people want to be personal. Like here, for example, you don't want an urn that was mass produced, because Johnny wasn't mass produced.
Oh,
that is poetic.
What if at the end she kind of cracks and she goes, and the postage and packaging was always included?
Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah.
There's like this slow applause.
Yeah. And is it a carbon copy at each funeral? That's the spiel that she gives. Like, that just works.
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
if anyone wants to, because I love talking about Johnny, if anyone wants to talk about Johnny more, my business cards are on the back.
I love the idea of it being like, I knew John, and it says Mom in flowers.
but also, like, obviously with a merger and acquisition sort of background, she does really aggressive marketing campaigns. So she's like getting in touch with funeral directors, like the program you get at funerals, and she's getting her QR code on the back. Yeah, like a program, exactly. She's got her QR code next to the...
It's called order of service. Like,
yeah. It's not a guy outside going, get your programs, selling scarves.
Well, like I say, she's got aggressive...
Johnny's dead scarf.
She's an aggressive marketer. That's her background. But obviously, she's getting her business out there, going potty, scan the QR code on the back of the order of service.
What if you had like a little guy dressed as a pot outside?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just think, like, obviously it's one thing selling your own personal pots, but you think she's thinking bigger, surely. Yeah. She wants this to be her livelihood, her career, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right now she's honestly not got a pot to piss in. You know what I mean? So
well, she's living at home, isn't she? Does she want to move out of her mum and dad's?
No.
Right, so she's not interested.
It's too high a cost of living.
Right, okay.
So maybe one day, but not right now.
But if the pottery business goes well enough, maybe.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Maybe she could build her own house out of clay. You know what I mean? That could be.
Well, we know that wouldn't work. We've read enough children's books to know that that's not going to work.
Does it just melt?
It would. It wouldn't melt straight away, but a house made completely of clay.
Well, if it did melt, you could like just mould it into a different shape.
It would crack, wouldn't it, eventually?
It would crack. You got to think of the weather conditions. Where's she going to build this?
Oh, yeah, God, if it gets wet,
you've
had a nightmare.
And before you know it, the council are on your back. Yeah. Have you got planning permission?
Unless you painted it in PVA glue and watercolours.
Yeah. Well, they'd just be like, you haven't told us, like the council will be like, you haven't told us about this, planning permission, things like that. Like they'd get involved, and before you know it, obviously she's wrapped up in all sorts of red tape, and she's living.
Put heating in it for one.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be an issue.
Yeah, it's a stupid idea, Harry. Actually. Right. Anyway, let's. I think we've put some good flesh on the character there. Like, I'm interested to see where she's going. Let's get one of the prompts in there. So one of the yellow ones. This is going to take the story in a bit of a different direction, and we'll incorporate it in like the next few minutes. But I think this is a great start to the story.
I like it. It's unique.
Yeah.
The weapon of choice was a decorative boomerang.
The weapon of choice was a decorative boomerang.
That came out of me and Lewis being at a festival a couple of weeks ago, and we just kept saying to each other.
Yeah, we was imagining it was like
a court case, yeah. Your Honour, Exhibit A, a decorative boomerang.
yeah.
So there you go. The weapon of choice was a decorative boomerang.
So
I'm actually feeling like I know where this story's going.
Oh, okay. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that the pottery business does start to do well.
Right.
And she meets a guy at one of these funerals. They hit it off. His brother's died, and it's his brother's funeral. That's how they've met.
Right, okay.
Right, okay, yeah. So she's met
So they've now hit it off. He decides that he is going to use one of her urns for his brother. But he does it really because he likes her.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Hates his brother.
Well, wasn't really that, but he likes her. This is a new thing. He's divorced.
Right, okay. So is he a bit older?
He's a little bit older.
Right.
And he's one of those, you know those guys where you immediately go, it was your fault that you got divorced.
Oh, yeah.
Clingy, needy,
Yeah.
a bit possessive. We're now looking at sort of fatal attraction the other way around.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So it starts off well. He's very supportive of her business. She's like, my life is on the up.
Yeah.
Business is going well. I'm going to all these different funerals. I'm bringing back a lot of food.
Yeah.
I'm meeting a lot of people, and now I've met this guy.
Yeah.
And they bonded because he wanted to meet someone new, she wanted to meet someone new, and they did. And it was nice because it wasn't online in this digital world to meet someone in real life that you connect with.
Yeah, of course.
So there's definitely a ghost scene where they're doing pottery together.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Goes without
Just his
saying.
brother's arms around him.
Yes.
Come on, mate.
That is very good. That is very good.
They create. they create his brother's urn together.
Right.
Oh, this is nice. This is good.
Yeah. Then, as time goes on, and it's very quite short. He gets really into this relationship really quickly. We're talking 2 months in, and he's proposing.
Oh my Christ!
Right. That would, for me, would be a red flag.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She says no to this, but nicely because she's like, it's 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, not that I want to break up, but it's 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
He doesn't like it, but doesn't show it.
Yeah,
But now starts thinking, why doesn't she want to get married?
He's wounded.
Yes.
He's wounded.
Why doesn't she want to marry me?
Okay.
So then he starts wanting to find out and follows her everywhere secretly.
Right. Okay. So we've got like a stalker sort of story
Stalker,
going on.
Going into her parents' house.
Jesus.
Like trying to look for all the different things he can find out about her, because now he's convinced that there are other people. So he starts going to these funerals in disguises.
Not in the coffin.
Yeah.
Just like replacing the body the night before and just sitting in and listening. See if she can, like one of them, like a cup
Yeah, he's
next
got
to
a ring doorbell on the door so you can see who's not coming.
But I like that. Disguise at funerals.
So and he's watching her do these pictures. He's watching her speak to other people, and he's convinced now that she doesn't love him, and if he was to die, then she would just move on, and he's fuming. So to prove a point, like the guy's nuts.
Yeah, he sounds it.
Yeah.
He sounds.
To prove a point,
Quite
he
intense.
fakes his own death.
Right.
This is super.
My God.
So, right, he faces his own death.
He fakes his
and-
own death to have a funeral, which she turns up to, but this time it's not business; it's heartfelt.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So we sort of found out what he wanted,
And
but he can't do anything about it
He
now.
can't do anything about it. But then because obviously he's not dead, she's mourning, but like not loads because it's been 2 months. And then he thinks, oh, she does love me because she's not with anyone else. I'm going to go and tell her that I didn't die.
Imagine that. Just imagine that.
No, but
like-
the thing is, that has definitely happened. That has happened in the world, 100%.
Yeah. Right. But so he faked his own. How did he fake his own death, by the way?
Well, I think is the boomerang going to come into it in terms of the faking of death, or
No, not yet.
Right, okay.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So he's faked his own death.
He's faked his own death.
So he's been dead, let's just say, a week. Right? And then
Oh,
he
no,
got-
you said 2 months, didn't you?
No, that's how long they've been
Right,
together.
all right,
Yeah, that's what I
okay.
mean. So
Yeah.
you've met someone, 2 months later they've died, and then they've come back. So in the point of, say
So-
the funeral was on the Friday, did he resurrect on the Sunday, or when was he back?
So it's not Jesus.
Yeah, well, yeah, mate, he sounds like it. You know what I mean? You got to be some sort of messiah.
And cause of death as well. That'd be good to find out.
So cause of death was we're going to go a climbing accident.
Right, okay.
And it's only been a few days of him now watching her while she thinks he's dead.
Right, okay.
So he's now convinced, oh, she did love me because she hasn't moved on. I thought she'd move on the next day. I was wrong. I'm going to go and climb through her bedroom window and tell her that I love her,
Right, okay.
which he does.
Yeah, and it's a mum and dad's room.
Yeah.
She jumps up, completely freaked out, obviously. And he's like, no, it's fine because I
Yeah.
didn't die. She's now like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And gets freaked out and tries to escape. Her mum and dad are on holiday at this point. by the way.
Okay.
So it's just her in the house.
Yeah.
She tries to run away because she's all freaked out. He tries to stop her and starts getting horribly aggressive.
Yeah, trying to convince her, like,
Trying
oh,
to convince her this is the one. Like, we should be together. She breaks his hold and she runs off. And he grabs her and throws her back. And as she lands, she knocks over a stand which has a decorative
Boomerang.
right.
It's massive, that boomerang.
Yeah, from her. It's decorative.
Knocks it off, and then,
And then this is from her parents' last holiday, and they keep that as a souvenir. She's then grabbed it, and as a reaction, turned round and hit him with it and caught him right on the side of the head.
Right.
And that's actually killed him.
Oh,
here we go.
Right.
This is a Miss Marple
Yeah.
sort of thing, this, isn't it?
So there's a body on her floor,
There's a body on her floor.
all right, and
also business.
that is super.
That is very good.
Oh shit! Ka-ching.
And was it like, as she sort of struck him with the boomerang and held the boomerang, or has she sort of shot the boomerang at him, it's killed him, and it's come back to her and she's caught it?
Oh, she's just struck him with
She's
it.
just struck him with it, right, okay.
She then tries to throw it away, and it comes back.
She's it in the other hand. No.
Can't get rid of the weapon. Never kill anybody with a boomerang.
Keeps doing it, and prints are getting further and further up on the boomerang.
Here's where it gets dark.
Oh, here's where it is, okay.
It gets really dark. She now is thinking, my life is over. I've just killed someone.
Yeah.
But then she realised everyone thinks he's already dead.
Oh, my God, yeah,
Right,
of
yeah.
course.
So now she's like,
Great.
I've got to get rid of this body. So she drags the body into the garden.
Is this evening, by the way? This is happening.
This is night.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
She drags the body into the garden and puts it under some tarpaulin. She spends the whole night cleaning the floors, trying to get rid of any shred of evidence. Time lapse forward. It's now the afternoon. It's a Saturday. It's a nice day. She then realises, she gets a notification on her phone. What time should we be round? She remembers that this is the day that she's meant to host a barbecue.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think this is superb. How are we doing on time here? Luke?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good on time. I think that's we've
Yeah.
set up the next scene there, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I reckon we get another prompt before we get into this next little
Which
bit.
colour?
Yellow. So this is our sort of last prompt, and we've just got to incorporate this in a couple of minutes.
Can we just also point out the fact as well, the fact that she lives in London and has a garden. That to me,
Yeah.
she's affluent.
North London.
Right, nice.
I didn't mean to kill him.
Shut up. Is that what he says?
That is superb.
That's great.
We've done so many of these episodes where we like manifest it, honestly, week on week.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's going to be quite easy to incorporate this,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It could be the next line.
Well, this is the thing. So once she's dragged him into the garden, she realised, I've got a barbecue later on this afternoon.
she's got 10 sausages to do.
And a body.
Yeah.
What she does, and it's quite sick, but she's got a kiln.
Yeah.
She's got a kiln. She's got the tools to create her own barbecue. So what she does very quickly is, do you know those videos you see where they're like, look at this guy surviving the wilderness with just mud and clay, and they build a hut?
Yeah.
She builds a clay oven.
Right, nice.
A huge clay oven, puts the body in there, burns it, lets it keep going. at that point, she then uses that as the oven for the
barbecue.
For the barbecue.
Of course, yeah.
Her brother, who she speaks to a lot, knows about this guy and everything. He's met the guy a couple of times. So the brother's now walking around the house.
The electrician.
The electrician.
Yeah.
And he has a spark of interest.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's a shocking story as well.
Boom, boom.
Lightning quick, that, man.
Yeah.
He finds a wedding ring on the floor. He's like, whose is that?
With a finger attached to it. What's that?
No, so it's just the wedding ring that he finds.
Just the wedding ring. It's this guy's wedding ring from when he was divorced.
Yeah.
And he confronts her, said like, whose is this? And she's like, oh, it. And she tells him, she tries to make up this elaborate story, and he knows. Then he starts noticing like specks of blood on the floor, and he looks into the kiln and goes, that fire's far too hot. And what is that mass mound? That's not a hog roast.
Yeah, he's got glasses on.
But what
wearing a shirt.
What I was also thinking was maybe when he's asked about the ring,
Yeah.
she could say, "Oh, he proposed to me like before it happened."
She makes a real elaborate story.
Elaborate story.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's my ring. I got given this, but I just didn't accept. But he's wanting me to keep it.
Yeah, I think she obviously he's quite possessive, this guy, but I think she lays it on even thicker.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
idea of like it was me or him.
Well, I think what will happen is the brother notices, where's the boomerang?
Oh right.
She had to burn it as well.
Where's the boomerang?
Did she burn it?
She burns the boomerang.
You're gonna have to, mate.
Yeah, I know, but like we didn't know
Yeah.
from.
I imagine where it was on the wall is just like a faded patch of paint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's odd.
So go on. What's her response? Like, how does she like? Where's the boomerang?
Her brother figures out what's gone on and confronts her on it, and that's when she says, "I didn't mean to kill him."
Right. So
So they said this at the barbecue, right?
Yeah.
How many people are at this barbecue, by the way?
30 odd.
Right. Okay. So she maybe said this like quietly in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Having a Dorito. Like, I didn't mean it.
Yeah,
know what I
dipping
mean?
it into some guac.
Yeah.
No, she's
She's freaking out by this. Just so we
Yeah.
know, she's not like, "Oh, this is."
Oh, yeah, of
normal
course,
day."
yeah.
She's like really freaked out by it.
Yeah.
She's doing her best to cover it up.
And in this barbecue, which is obviously serving these 30 people, there are now sausages in there, bacon.
There's bacon, so a bit of him. Some people
That's-
don't realise they've definitely eaten a bit of him.
This
Yeah.
is what I mean. So, like, there's a barbecue going on, which,
Yeah.
there's going to be some sort of cross-contamination there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Have you got
No, sorry.
He was just disgusted.
I imagine if there's people at this barbecue and they're obviously like eating away, they could there be anyone that knows this guy that isn't within her immediate circle of family? You know what I mean? No. Okay, right. So
they met at a random funeral.
right, yeah. Okay, so these are just her family and friends. Mum and dad aren't there.
Mum and dad aren't there. It's all her family and friends, her brother's family and friends.
Right.
There's quite a few people.
So he hasn't told his side of the family about her, so there's no surprise.
Yeah. What if
His mum and dad aren't turning up?
What if there's like family that are there that are being like, do you know what? Auntie Mary's like, she ain't got long left, and is there any chance we could get a quote off you for how much the urn would be?
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
but
her
she'll be
sorted out?
getting loads of that now because
Yeah.
the business has been going well. She gets people asking about her pottery stuff all the time,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
So there's a lot of chat around that. But if people are consuming this body mistakenly, does that eventually kind of come out, or is it more? Does she confess?
Well, the only thing, she said something to her brother. That's as far as we know now,
Yeah.
isn't it? So where are you seeing this story going, Emmanuel?
Well, I see it's her brother, so he wants to protect her, so he agrees to say nothing and just support her.
Right.
And the rest of the barbecue is such a success that it goes down in history.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I like that.
All right. I like that. I reckon before we get to that point, though, because we've still got a bit of time, I think, I reckon
She kills someone else. She gets a bloodlust now.
I think that it's too easy to wrap it up in that nice bow of like it just now. I think something else has to happen. Like, is it like someone overhears the conversation at the barbecue? Is there something to do with her ex-boss at the barbecue? Do her parents return? Do you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
feel like there's another little
I'm
twist in
taking
this.
another prompt.
Yeah.
I reckon you go for it. If this sort of is another one where it fits in, I'm gonna be mind blown, but I can't see it.
A small written hand letter caught their attention.
Superb.
Right, okay, so I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, when he's come to, to a
Your
bedroom...
accent made that sound deeply sexual.
when he's come, when he's arrived at the bedroom and obviously gone to, like, say, oh, you're the one for me, don't leave, like, I'm alive. Is the letter in his pocket something for her, or was it a letter for his ex-wife? Like, who is this letter to?
I reckon what he would have done is when he climbed into the room, because she'll be asleep at that point.
Right.
I reckon that this was very much a crime of passion. So what he was going to do, rather than just tell her straight away, maybe he'd written her this letter, and he was going to leave it there, and then was going to leave, and then she stirred, and he thought, you know what, this is probably the better time to surprise her.
Right.
So that letter's still there.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
And the rest, the letter, you know, like paraphrasing, but he's like confessing his love.
Is it confessing his love, or is it something, like, is he confessing something else? Like, is it, because she already knows at this point that he loves her. So to write her a letter, I'm not sure, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, run away.
I think it's more like he's confessing his love and being like, I couldn't imagine my life without you, and I thought you could. And the fact that when I died and you didn't move on, that makes me think that we have to be together. Which, if you're on the receiving end of that, the person that liked you faked their own death and is then saying this, they're like doubling down on that level of intense.
Well, I'm thinking...
P.S. I hate boomerangs.
Yeah. But also, who's found this letter? Is it her who's found it? Because obviously, I don't think she's clocked that this letter's sort of lying around. She's at a barbecue. I think someone...
Well, it's someone that would go into her bedroom, so it's got to be, I'd say, a close friend.
Close friend?
I'd say bitchy close friend who is looking for that one up, and now, well, I'm going to use this against you because it's that whole I know what you did last summer thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about if it's like one of her friends, maybe one of the bitchier ones or whatever, they spilt something down themselves at this barbecue and needs a change of clothing, and they're the same size, and it's like, oh, go and grab yourself out of...
Go and help yourself.
Go and help yourself, sort of thing. Or she's just thought, we're good friends, I'll go and change my top.
Yeah.
And when she's gone in, when she's like gone to the cupboard, it's one of them cupboards which have like a mirror on it, so you can see how you're looking. And in the reflection of the mirror, she's seen.
No.
What else do you use a mirror for?
Yeah.
One of those mirrors where you can see yourself. You got another type.
I imagine if
haven't.
she sees the letter, it's like it's got like a wax stamp on it, right?
Like
and it
Hogwarts.
just says my love.
Yeah, I think she's just noticed it. Like when she's closed the cupboard door again, she's seen herself in the mirror, but also in the reflection, seeing this letter on the floor, and she's like,
Yeah, my love, I'm sorry.
What's
You know
that?
what I mean?
Yeah, and just she's gone and checked it out, maybe. Yeah. So are we saying it is just a love letter, or is there any other information in it?
Well, it's going to be a pretty creepy love letter.
Right.
But basically, he's going to be like, I'm alive.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the biggest piece of information, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then she takes this down to her friend. She takes it down to Liv. She was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Liv now going to panic.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, oh, she knows someone. Because before, I can get rid of the body because everyone already thinks he's dead. Now there's someone else that knows that he's alive.
Do you want me to tell you who this girl is? So when Liv left the executive assistant role, this girl is the one who replaced her. And the relationship that she had with her boss was so good prior that her ex-boss just keeps saying, oh, Liv was great. Liv was great.
Liv didn't do it like that.
Yeah, Liv didn't do it like that. And obviously she got the job because Liv recommended her originally. Yeah. Oh, there's this job, I'm leaving that one. You go and do that if you want. But yeah, she's just got really bitter. Obviously she's followed a dream, her business has took off. She's doing mint. And now it's like, I've got you here.
Well, yeah, she got the job on the technicality of a legend who recommended it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think can we just put a name on this girl just so we can define the characters? So who is the girl who's found it? What's her name?
Let's go Sarah.
Right, so Sarah's found this letter. Right, okay, so is Sarah's intention now, I'm going to tell everyone at the barbecue? Is she just going to use it as blackmail? Is she like, well, where is he? If he's still alive, like...
I've got his programme.
Yeah. Well,
He's dead.
Well, everybody knows that he's dead, but now Sarah knows that she
think
isn't.
she keeps asking questions, and the answers that she gets just don't make sense. So she asks more questions, and Liv just starts to dig herself a deep, deep hole.
Right. Okay. And remind us word for word what that last sentence is we're going to finish on.
The barbecue went down in history.
Right. Okay. So is the reason why it's going down in history is because we've found out this massive sort of
Yeah, well,
I thought it was going to be because the food was really great.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it is just left sort of.
What if this Sarah's like quite inflammatory in the comments, right? Like being like, this is odd, right? You know, we're having a barbecue. This guy's, you know, says he was dead. Now he's alive, but you can't tell me where he is. And you know, Sarah's the
Liv.
knob. Liv is he's so like taken aback by it all. She's like, oh, what are you saying? Are you accusing me of doing something, right? And there's this like huge scene, and Sarah's like, well, it doesn't seem right. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah, well, people's ears are pricking up now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, what? Why these?
putting down
two?
the potato salad in there. They're
Yeah.
looking across, right? So it's getting like louder and louder.
Every single one of them have got like a meat, sort of meal, like
Burger with a toe on.
they're all just eating meat at this.
Someone's having a fit.
Yeah. They're all just eating barbecue
Ribs
at
are
this.
good.
Yeah.
So big.
Side to side like that.
Yeah. So go on, keep going.
So yeah, I imagine this is like getting heated, and I keep forgetting her name. Liv's like, what exactly are you saying that I have done here? And Sarah just calls her out, and he's like, I think you know what you've done.
Oh, do you know what? I reckon the way this would come out is Liv's getting more and more defensive, and her answers are becoming more and more outrageous, and Sarah's just not having it. And Sarah says sarcastically, "What's wrong with you? You're acting like you've killed him." And then the look on Liv's face, Sarah clicks on. She's like, "You did, or we know you've done something bad now by the look on your face."
Right, okay, I like that idea. I'm trying to think of like when that comes out, her brother's like coughing on a burger in the corner.
A finger flies out of his mouth.
Um,
Trying to distract her. Sarah, when was the last? All your sockets earthed? Do you want me to come round?
Yeah, well, I mean, that could be a finisher of like, it's like there's a part 2 maybe. You know what I mean? It's like a cliffhanger almost, isn't it?
They've got to get rid of Sarah now.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
that sort of like, oh, you know.
Yeah, what if her brother just like hears it and out of, you know, like his protectiveness for his sister and his love.
Well, we could do that if he's an electrician, so we could quite easily say that you got Liv now goes panicking to her brother saying she knows something. And her brother's like, I've got this.
Yeah.
And maybe he knows Sarah, never really liked her, but he knows her. Calls her over to check something out, but he's maybe unearthed the wire.
Yeah, lights her
or
up.
Played or something.
Yeah.
She goes to turn something on, gets electrocuted.
Right, so there's another, right,
Yeah,
okay.
fully fried.
Right, okay. So what we're saying there is that all the other people at the barbecue, when they was having this argument, they actually didn't see it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's 30 people here, and I thought they had a heated argument. So everyone would be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Eyes are on them at this point.
Yeah, I thought it was a big public argument. And then,
Yeah, I'd have that. I'd definitely have that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then, so if... What I'm saying is like, he's took Sarah away, the brother, and just like electrocuted her in some sort of way, like unearthed a wire.
I'd say because he can't do it where it was just those two, because then obviously he did it. So I reckon that he's rigged the light switch, for example.
Right, okay.
And then asked her discreetly while people are looking to go and get something, and she has to turn the light on for it. And all we hear is a scream while they're already in there, and everyone else rushes, but those two stay there and rush in slightly afterwards.
yeah.
Right, okay.
One of them's wearing a tool belt.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh no, how did this happen?
Yeah, pulls the pencil out from behind his ear.
Yeah. Okay. And is that why?
Yeah, I reckon, because...
And that's why the barbecue went down in history.
yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that, Emmanuel?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I think that...
We ruined her life. We said at the start we were going to ruin her life, and we have. I've really enjoyed that.
Well, she ruined other lives, so...
Yeah, honestly, that was probably one of the most intriguing, sort of mysterious stories that we've had. I really enjoyed that.
It's a bit like a boomerang, you know, what goes around, comes around.
How long have you been waiting to say that?
Oh, mate, I've had it a while, honestly.
Yeah, mate, that was brilliant. That was so good. Thank you. Yeah.
Great.
So what we do is we just have like a little break, and then when we come back, we'll think of a title for the film.
Yeah.
Where we'll think what the soundtrack would be for the trailer, how the poster would look, and a line that you can gift to the pot for future guests. All right?
Okay.
We will be back in a second. We're back. What a story, Emmanuel, by the way. Thank you very much for being great. I mean, that was, like I said, the first sort of murder mystery. Was it the first murder mystery?
No, Sam's story had a bit of murder in it, didn't it? I wasn't expecting it with this story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sam's had some dodgy characters in it, but this girl started off almost quite twee, very Etsy, and then she got very nasty.
Well, it wasn't her fault, really, was it? It was self-defense originally, and it's just sort of like, right, how do I get myself out of this mess?
Yeah. I mean, as the prosecution, I would say it doesn't sound like self-defense to me.
Doesn't, does it?
No. Who keeps a decorative boomerang in their house? Yeah. But I really enjoyed the fact that I think it was after that second prompt, there was about a 5-minute window where you were like, I know where this is going. And we just went from like chapter 3 through all the way to about 8. And I was like, usually you never get a guest that wants to just run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd be like, oh, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. But I was like, this is interesting. You've got a clear path there.
Oh, I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see what she was about to do.
How did you find like the experience of creating the story? Was it like at the start? Was you like, oh, this might be a bit too much to sort of create and fabricate?
No, do you know what? This is. I think you're really on something. This is a very easy way of creating a story.
Yeah.
Of just going completely random. Now, how do we make it make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you write any sort of story, sitcom, film. It's all going to start with questions like that.
Yeah.
What's the character's name? What do they do? Where do they live? What's their background?
Yeah.
And after that, you start to know the character. And once you know the character, it becomes relatively easy because it's like if you were explaining something that Harry did. Because you know him, it's much easier to explain.
Yeah.
How you do it.
Of course, yeah.
Well, the dream is to get recognised in like Mumbai. You know what I mean? If Ben's getting it in a town in France.
Sorry, who's Ben?
Say that into the camera.
Is there someone else called Ben?
Ben, yeah. Ben is, I think his second name's Hart.
Yeah.
Ben Hart.
No. Spell it Heart,
Yeah.
like the way it should be spelled.
I imagine him white knuckling on his laptop now. But I thought it was great. I thought he did really well. Because I think some people initially go, "There's no way this is going to happen," but like it does knit together.
I think there always is that like bit of fear. Maybe not for every guest, but for a lot of them, like how
I was.
Yeah,
I was scared the moment you said, "What's her name?" I was like,
yeah.
Name?
Yeah.
No. And stuff like this, I will do zero prep for. Yeah,
That's the best thing, though.
That's the best part about it. You can't prepare for it at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and I think when we were setting up the podcast, we wanted it to be something where I listen to so many podcasts where you get guests on loads of different ones, and they get asked the same question. It's like, oh, what are you up to what are you up to at the moment? Like, what are you doing next? Like, what do you think?
We don't care about that.
Yeah,
at all.
I don't care about your career.
No, I think it's like you find out something different about the people. Which, you know what I mean? You know a lot about people anyway from like all the podcasts you listen to, but on this you're sort of finding out about them through them telling a story, which I really like. I think, I just think it's good.
If that's the case, please know that I've never killed anyone and put them in a kiln accidentally or otherwise.
Yeah, it projected a lot, I think. But yeah, speaking of the story, what should we call this film for today? Like usually, once again, we do a play on words, like something a bit catchy.
I think James has got one here.
Go on.
Kill me softly.
Oh,
here we go.
Very good.
Can we just clear something up as well? Because
Now I've had that for.
is it a kiln or a kiln?
A kiln.
A kiln.
K-I-L-N.
With an M.
A kiln. I
Are you saying it with an M or an N?
I don't want to answer.
I think for this we can call it a kiln.
I just know it as a kiln.
But are you saying it with an N on the end?
I don't fucking clue. I'm just saying
Yeah, I was saying it with an M.
Silent N.
Have you just Googled it?
Oh, sorry. No, I will do that.
I really thought he was Googling it.
So you've got kiln me softly.
Kiln me.
Kill me softly.
I quite like that one. Have you got any ideas here, Emmanuel? I'm thinking like 1 foot in the socket.
It's KILN, yeah.
It's KILN. Right, okay.
Okay, I'm going to go on to ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT comes up with
Okay.
for titles.
It's all gone to pot.
It's all gone to pot is a good one. It's all gone to
That's
pot is a
very
good one.
Yeah.
That is very good. Judgment Clay.
Judgment Clay. Judgment Clay. Judgment Clay. That is very good. That is the front runner for me at the moment, Judgment Clay.
So far, ChatGPT isn't being great. Okay.
I'm glad.
So we've got Murder on the Wheel,
Oh.
Nice.
Shattered Silence.
It's not hitting me like Judgment Clay. That's
Judgment Clay.
Oh, this one's pretty good. Needing Danger.
Earn, baby, earn.
Oh, dude.
Disco Inferno, burn, baby, burn. Earn, baby, earn.
Earn, baby, earn.
Earn, baby, yeah. I think that's good. I like Judgment Clay, earn, baby, earn. And then
I just realised as I was staring out the window then trying to think, I'm thinking that camera's going to have me looking very gormless. Like.
right, so I reckon we've got a few names in the back of our mind there for what it could be. But before we sort of settle on one, let's think about what this poster would be.
Right.
What would it look like, do you think? The poster for the film.
Do you know what? I would go with her at a pottery wheel,
Okay.
moulding this urn using red clay. So as it drips over the fingers, it does look a little bit like blood.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's his head.
Yeah.
Well, what's it in the shape? What's it in the shape of this
It's
thing?
in the shape of an urn.
Right.
It could be, if you
Yeah.
looked at it squinting, it could be a face.
Right.
And right, I like that. I'm just trying to think if the title of the top, what do you have? Burn, baby, burn.
Earn, baby, earn.
Earn,
Yeah.
baby, earn. Judgment Clay.
Earn Baby Earn, I think, is a good.
Yeah.
Well, she makes urns, doesn't she? That's like her bag.
So she earns a living.
Earns money. Yeah. What would the tagline be? So I really like that idea. And is it? We see her face as well, or is it just like it's like below the neck sort of shot?
We see her face.
We see her face. Okay.
Like very deadpan, straight to camera.
Okay.
Okay. Are we
And
seeing
maybe a silhouette of a guy on the floor behind her.
right? Okay. Yeah.
The chalk line of a boomerang.
Well, all right,
Yes.
okay. If we were just getting a bit more detailed in terms of the type of shot, is it one of them where it's like it's straight on, or it's sort of like a high angle sort of shot looking down, and she's
I'd go
looking up at
straight
it?
on, and then it's like you've got a bit of depth perception here where it's going back behind.
Yeah.
her.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
I imagine it almost looks quite like clinical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very.
I feel like this should be like set, maybe 80s. I'm thinking like Stranger Things kind of theme.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of that, like they've got a particular genre of music in the Stranger Things series.
Yeah.
So, what would the soundtrack to this film be if they was doing the montage trailer sequence at the start?
Would it be Dead or Alive? You spin me right round.
But like once again, just sort of like
Slow.
slowed down.
Yeah.
We love a slowed down, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you
I
thinking?
do like that.
Do you like that? Shall we go with
I
that?
really do like that. That's tickled me, that one. That's really, like annoyingly so as well. I'm going to giggle about this well past this podcast.
And it's got by Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive? Yeah. There's so many layers to it.
Lead singer Pete Earns.
We are smashing this one out the park. You're lucky. They are lucky with this one, big time.
Ben would have never said that.
Yeah, Ben.
Ben
Yeah.
would never have said
Who?
that.
Right. Okay. So we're going. I reckon we're going Earn Baby Earn
Yeah.
and Dead or Alive.
Spin me right round.
You spin me right round, baby, right round. Sang by Pete Earns, and the poster is of an urn being sort of moulded together by Liv, and it's it's a shot of her, and there's the blood dripping around the fingers, but it could be a face if you squinted. I like that a lot. I think the only thing else we need now is your contribution to the pot. So if you could think of a sentence which would go in there, which another guest has to deal with, that would be great.
Let's do a line that will really ruin some story. And then their appendix burst.
Right, that is a good one.
We can relate.
Yeah, we've had our appendices done, haven't we? Yeah.
Superb, mate. I thought that was great. Can you tell our listeners, watchers, where they can find you? Because I think this is going to come out in a few weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe 3-4 weeks, something like that.
So Fringe might be well done.
Time, Fringe will be done. Follow me on all of your socials. It's at Emmanuel Stand Up, all one word. I'm going to be touring as well.
Are you touring around Manchester at any point?
I'm going to be touring around Manchester. That won't be till next year, but the tour. By the time this comes out, the tour will be announced. There'll be tickets on my website, emmanuelstandup.com.
Cool.
Sweet.
And that's probably the best way to find me.
When you're next in Manchester, it'd be great for you to come to our studio and do it again.
Yes, do this again.
So if you're up for that, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It's mint.
Fantastic. So, do you want to tell them to keep getting involved?
Yeah, so if you've obviously enjoyed the episodes, you can suggest lines as well, just like the guests for future episodes. Just get in touch with us at AllMadeUp Pod. And as ever, tell people. We've had nothing but 5 stars for this podcast, mate. People are loving it. But yeah, just go and spread the word. It makes a big difference. And then we'll see you at a live show, hopefully, before the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you once again to everybody. And this has been All Made Up with Emmanuel Sonubi.